House Democrats are debating whether the Mueller report gives them enough evidence to start impeachment hearings against President Trump. CBS News legal analyst Jonathan Turley testified before Congress on the legal standards of impeachment during the Clinton proceedings in 1998. He is a constitutional law professor at George Washington University, and we know that he's read the full Mueller report.
Yes, he has.
For my sins, yes.
Yes,
Jonathan, thank you. And it is a very serious report put together. Let's talk about the Constitution. Article 2, Section 4 of the Constitution sets the bar for impeachment at high crimes and misdemeanors. Do we know from the Mueller report if the president reached that point?
We don't, but there are tantalizing indications that he may have. This comes down to a question of interpretation. If you actually look at the Article 1 of the impeachment of Richard Nixon, it has many of the items that Mueller combed out of his investigation, things like suggesting to witnesses that they might be pardoned or given commutations, giving false statements or deceiving the public. All these things that are in the Mueller report actually were part of the Nixon impeachment. But it comes down to a question of intent, and that's the difficulty here.
Yeah. Well, President Trump has says that he would turn to the Supreme Court to follow up on impeachment. Can he do that?
Oh, he can. It's just that he'll lose in a heartbeat. Okay. I mean, it's entirely frivolous. The framers gave this matter to Congress, and there's nothing really for them to review or to intervene on in that type of action. It could delay things, but the result is all but certain.
So it only falls on Congress then to lead
That's right.
for impeachment.
Yeah.
Correct.
Speaking of the framers, Franklin said that impeachment was when a president rendered himself obnoxious, which never got into the final document. But the 55 men who were there, the delegates, what do you think they would think? Would they think that the behavior mentioned in the Mueller report was sufficient for impeachment?
Well, I think the framers would be appalled by most of what they see by Congress or the president. That's why I feel more comfortable in the 18th century. But the fact is that the framers did give some room at the elbows for Congress. Congress actually can impeach someone for a non-crime. But it's also important for people to recognize Mueller found a number of non-criminal motives by President Trump. That works to his advantage. On issues like the Trump Tower, even the attempt to fire Mueller, he found these non-criminal reasons for doing what he did. But, you know, this is a 400-page tale of self-inflicted wounds. And the president's writing a sequel. You know, by saying that he never told Don McGahn to fire Mueller, he's creating a very important factual dispute that Congress has no choice but to investigate. And if he's lying, that was part of the first article of impeachment against Richard Nixon.
Oh, you mean this subsequent tweet that the president just said where he said he didn't do that?
Yeah, if
Wow,
Congress concludes that the president is lying about the underlying facts of impeachment, that actually can become a matter for them to consider for impeachment.
Some would call that a self-inflicted wound.
Yes, and a repeated one, yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Always good to
Turley.
talk to you about this stuff.
Yeah, you know your stuff.